telling the kids that Jonathan will be the president. And that's kind of hard for the girls. I said, I understand, Marcus. That's hard for the girls. And he said, can you help them? I said, absolutely. And I quoted 1 Corinthians 13:11. And it says that when I'm a child, I think like a child. I feel like a child. I reason it all out like a child. But when I become a man or woman, I've got to put that away. And I said, Marcus, we're going to have to go into a time where I help them put it away. And that's when he said, well, what you're going to need to help Rachel do. Now we're talking about what you're going to need to help Rachel do is to be able to submit and listen to her brother, because it's been hard for her knowing that I've called him all these years that he will be president. And so it's going to be hard for her. And I said, I understand that, Marcus. So we talked, Joni talked, and then he said, and I said, but you have to go back. Even I'll have to take them back to recognize any stones in their heart where they did not receive what you were saying, Marcus, what you were saying, Joni, about Jonathan being the one that would be president. And I want to say this to you. When I did the full teaching about the stones in the heart, Marcus literally said, the whole world's got to hear this. This is what happened in our family. This is why everything happened. Oh, that we went through. And he said, the whole world's got to hear the teaching about the stony heart, because now I can see why we've had the struggles. And I said, I'll help with the stony heart. So let me say it this way. I was working with them based on what Marcus is saying. And then Joni, oh my star, she would say to me, I always told Jonathan that he's got to realize the importance of him being the firstborn and what God says about the right hand. And that he said from the time he was born, we laid hands on him. And because God said he would be the one that would lead Daystar and carry this on, but that we were to put our hand on him, the right hand, and pray over him. And Laura Lynn, I spoke to Jonathan about that, and tears came in his eyes. He said, your mom would always remind me of that.